Welcome to week 2. This week we're going to work on logo development. And what that means is you're going to do a project that includes a logo and many other things. I'm going to show you an example of what this project looks like in its entirety. And I'm going to show you a student example. This is Paola's work. She did Dynasty Cookies. Each one of you are going to get your own unique brand. Hers was Dynasty Cookies, which is not something that's available to you, so don't worry about it. And what you're looking at is an InDesign document, multi-pages, that she has taken and filled with her content. So you're going to get this InDesign template similar to the hero portrait, and you're going to fill it with your own content. This is the title page. You're each going to get a creative brief, and I'm going to show you how to get that in a little bit. Your creative brief will be somewhat unique compared to your other classmates, and it's going to give you the information you need to complete this project. This creative brief is modeled after one that I use for real clients. It's a bit simplified, but it gives you all the key information you need to know. First of all, who are you? Dynasty Cookies. Each one of these products is a product. It is not a place. It's not a restaurant. It's not a destination. It's not a service. They're all products that go in a box. What do you provide that makes you unique in that field? So every product has to have a unique aspect to it, otherwise it doesn't last long. So this is a key thing that you want to read in order to get an idea of what you're working on. Why does it matter? Why do people care that it's different? It usually has some benefit that people want. Who's the target audience? This has the basics, like this says adults 35 to 65. You're going to actually drill down and do personas, and I'll show you that in a little bit. A little more. You need to know who you're talking to. Who are your competitors? There might be 1 or 2 names here, but you're going to find a total of 6. What do you want to communicate? I always write this in the first person of the consumer. So this is what you want people to say about your product. I will buy Dynasty Cookies because I like to serve my guests sophisticated treats that reflect positively on my own unique tastes. So this is a key thing that you want to focus on so you know where you're trying to go with this product. Now, for instance, this product is not about how delicious it is. It's about how impressive it is to give to other people. And then we have a list of 10 words that reflect your brand. These are words that inform your design decisions by giving you a feel for fonts, for colors, for the overall graphics of your brand. I've used this with real clients, and we spent 2 weeks trying to get the 10 keywords right before we move on to doing any design work. On the next page, she took the 10 keywords and created a piece of word art using different colors based off her assigned color. If you see in the creative brief, everyone has an assigned color, and that's going to be your starting point, but you're going to add more colors as you go along. There's the personas, and there's a detailed description of how to do this page in the assignment, which is going to give you a clear idea of who you're marketing to. This is called inspiration, this page, and this is essentially like a Pinterest board for the project. So it could be things that you find inspiring, reference images, a combination of all these things. So that's kind of what she has here. Next, you have competitors. Like I said, you need to have six competitors. She found 6. Then you're going to find some fonts. You're going to do some font exploratory and look at display fonts, which are fonts that have a lot of personality and not much on legibility, perhaps. And then info level fonts. These are fonts that are much more legible and easy to read for like directions and ingredients and stuff. And then you're going to do some sketches for a logo icon. This is the first step, and I want you to complete this by Thursday for the discussion. So 12 unique sketches. These were her 12. You can see there's no, with the exception of this one, which is kind of a mistake, you shouldn't write out the name of the company. It's just a picture. After you do the 12 sketches, you're going to pick the best 3. She took these 3 ideas and sort of brought them to the next level, which is bringing them into Illustrator and adding logo type. She tried out different options, 10 different options of this one, 10 different options of this one, and then 10 different options of this one. Then she put them into this template called the logo tests. This is like a mock business card letterhead just to see how it works and if it's visible well. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So this all the way through, we're up to page 16, is what is due by Sunday. This will get you on the path toward a logo for your product. Next week, this is what's coming up. Final logo, a color exploratory, a color logo, a color palette with all the specs. This is all coming up in week 3. Business cards, letterhead, envelope, a full identity package. And then you're going to do a package design. This is in week 4, giving 3 options, 1, 2, 3. And then a digital assembly and mock-up in a scene so that you make it look like a real product. Sound like fun? Julia's excited. All right. Paola went on. Once she got her brand established, she had some more fun with it. She added a t-shirt. She did a vehicle wrap. She did a bag. It's really quite fun once you get your brand established. It is a lot, but keep in mind that this is all we're doing for the rest of the month. So this represents what I've just shown you is 3 weeks worth of work. All right, let's go look at the assignment and see how this works. So here we are in week 2 in the logo development assignment. When you go here, you'll see it says download a creative brief and it has a link right here. When you click on this, it'll take you to a sign up sheet. It looks to me like a lot of people have signed up already, so that's good. When you sign up, you click on this link and this will take you to your creative brief. Now, the creative briefs are InDesign files, so they can't be previewed. What you do is you go to the little 3-dot menu on the right, click and say download. And I'm going to say open this with InDesign, but you want to save it in your color theory folder. When you get your creative brief, it has a Pantone color assigned and it has the information you need to complete the project. You cannot complete the project without downloading a creative brief. And by the way, you have to use one of our creative briefs. You can't make up your own. Back to the assignment for a minute. So next it says download the presentation template here. I'm going to click on that. And this takes you to a zip file. Again, go to the 3 dots, say download. And we're going to save this one down on my desktop. You save it in your color theory folder. Once it's downloaded, you can unzip it. And when you open this, you'll see basically there are 2 InDesign files. These are essentially identical. You want to use the INDT file. That's the one to use. This other one's for legacy versions of InDesign, which none of you will have. So it's really something I should get rid of. So the InDesign template file. And then you have a folder called links. The relationship between these 2 is important to maintain. So once you download it, don't move these things around or the links will break and you'll have to relink everything. There's a lot of stuff in here, but it's all linked through the InDesign document. So that's your master to complete the assignment. I'm going to open this so you can see what it looks like blank. Here's a blank presentation file. You've obviously got a title page. This page says brief. So what goes on there? Your creative brief. Word list, all the things you just saw that Paula completed are in this, are pages in this file, set up for you to customize with your own content. So let's just show you quick how to do the creative brief, right? So I opened my creative brief earlier. I'm going to just do Command A to select everything on this page, Command C to copy it. I'm going to jump over to the other document, click into this brief page, and Command V paste. And now I'm just going to place it here for now. Ultimately, you can customize this and make it look beautiful, but it's important that you copy your entire creative brief over, because when you copy this Pantone swatch, a miracle happens. When you go into your swatches, look, it adds it instantly to this document, and it won't add it if you don't copy it. So that's a brief scenario for how to get started. Now let's talk about what you're actually going to do with all this information. First thing you want to do is get your creative brief and read it and do research. Yes, design is about research. You have to do some research to fill your brain with enough fuel to be creative. This is a standard part of the design process. Do some research, understand your product. If you start coming up with logo ideas just because you saw the name of the product, you haven't done enough work and your ideas are going to fall flat. Each of these products have some unique attribute to them that you want to exploit when you come up with ideas. Next, you're going to sketch ideas for a logo icon, not the whole logo, just the picture, the icon. And we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Sketch out 12 unique ideas. In order to get 12 unique ideas, you might have to do 50 sketches, but we want to see 12 unique ones. And then you're going to refine them, take them into Illustrator, add type, and test them out in the logo tests. This is what the week looks like for those who want to see the big picture. Here we're in the live session. Get your creative brief and start sketching. On Thursday, there are going to be live critiques of your sketches. So present your work in progress for your logo sketches to the discussion for Thursday to get some feedback. You're going to provide a little feedback to one of your peers on Friday, and then you're going to take 3 best. When I give a critique, I usually try to point the student in the direction of the 3 best they should use, and then take them into Illustrator using these templates, which you see down here, and these are all linked to that InDesign file, to do some process, logo process, 10 of each of 3, and then a final test, logo test options in this template. That's a lot of information I just gave you. Any questions right off the bat? Brittany's good. It is a lot, Eugene, but step by step, one step at a time, and you'll get there. There's a thing in design, I would just say, trust the process. All right. So let's talk about logos, because that's the first thing you're going to do is create a logo. So what do logos do? Why do we have logos? What's their main function? I'm sure you've all created logos. Anybody got any thoughts? Brittany. The question is, what do logos do? They give identity, recognition, a recognizable symbol. Yes, a visual that gives you a quick recognizable symbol. That's really the purpose of a logo. Now, I've got a smattering of logos here. Some of these are a little old now, but there are different types of logos you can create. One kind is called an emblem. And if you see like NFL and Harley Davidson, these are emblems. They actually have the words of the name of the company built into a graphic. BMW is kind of the same thing. This Burger King logo is kind of like that. So those are called emblems. UPS is it's like exactly an emblem. Then you have another kind of logo, which is called a word mark. Coca-Cola is a word mark. FedEx is, Google. This is where the name of the company is just written out in a distinctive font, right? You also have monograms with the initials, which is a little pretty old school, CNN, IBM. People have to know what that stands for before you can really make it work. And then you have the kind of logo we want you to do, which is an icon and logo type, like Mercedes-Benz, Toyota. There's an icon and some logo type. Nike is icon logo type, but they've made their icon so famous that now it doesn't need the name anymore. But this is what I want you to create. It's thinking visually, like this Pepsi logo. What is the icon first thing, and then you're going to add logo type. Icons are super helpful. They come from before people could read. And, you know, like if you wanted your shoe fixed, you went to the sign of the cobbler. You didn't have to read. Ouch. If you look at this old battle scene, this is painted by David in the 19th century. Do you see the logo in this painting? It's sort of prominent. All right, Brittany's asking a question. For the logos, we have to sketch them? Yes, sketch them. I'll go over this. Brittany, I'll go over the logistics of what you're doing with your sketches and all that soon. The shield, yeah, it looks like a bear. It actually is a wolf feeding two human children, Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome. So you can see by the composition that David did that he wanted this logo to be prominent. It's kind of a frightening thing, you know, the power of the Roman Empire in ancient times, the Battle of Sabine. Jump ahead to the 20th century. This is from a book called Learning from Las Vegas by Robert Venturi. Venturi was an architect, part of a group called the Gang of 10 in New York City. And when he wrote this book, it was kind of heresy, like Las Vegas, that's tacky. What could we learn from Las Vegas? Well, he pointed out that if you're driving down the road and you get hungry, you don't look for the McDonald's building. You look for the logo. The logo is more important than the building. Branding is the new architecture of our world. And here's one of his sketches from his book. You see how that works. Is my audio okay? Does it keep cutting out? A little jumpy. Sorry about that. I'll try to talk slowly as well. Here's a logo. This logo has distinctive parts. It's got an icon and it's got logo type. The size and position of these two elements is what we call a logo lockup. The reason it's called a lockup is because you don't want to change it once you establish it. You want to keep it the same. Now, anybody know why Full Sail's icon is an airplane? Who made the Full Sail logo? That's a complex question. Not me, by the way. No, no one knows. Okay, so originally it was a flying ship. It looked like Captain Hook's galleon sort of flying magically through the air. The idea of Full Sail is that we help people overcome obstacles to get to the career of their dreams. So a flying ship, it kind of goes, it's magical, it goes over obstacles, and it kind of gets you to your dreams. You can see how that imagery would connect. What I heard is that they had a reason for not being able to use the flying ship anymore. They had to change it out, and they decided to use a plane because the thinking was a plane is more high tech than a ship. Planes actually do fly, which in the case of a logo, I don't think is an advantage because it's not magical anymore. It's practical. But now we have a logo with an airplane and the name Full Sail, and it's weird. And weird can be good because it can make it memorable. Has anybody had the experience of being asked if they were studying sailing when they told people where they went to college? Yes, a few. Some people know Full Sail. Full Sail is getting well known, so hopefully. I went to Parsons School of Design, and somebody asked me if I was studying to be a parson. Yes, there are more and more people who went to Full Sail. It's becoming pretty widespread. All right, so the reason I'm using this as an example is because it's something you can all refer to. So as you're creating your logo, think of this proportion, this setup as kind of the model for what you're doing. There are other kind of logos. Like I said, these are word marks. Two companies, similar kind of word marks. They both use red. They both use script writing, which is from the 19th century. And that's when these companies were both started a long, 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 long time ago. Their logos don't really have an icon in them. Kellogg's has started using a rooster that they've always had. And Coca-Cola uses their bottle silhouette as an icon. But icons are super important. Like if you have an app on your phone, it's an icon. If icons help you recognize the company right away. These are actually cupcakes. Looks like an iPhone. Coca-Cola used a polar bear in a campaign, and they use a polar bear a lot, but they don't really use it as a sort of logo icon that I remember, but could be. They spend a lot of money on marketing, so there's a lot of stuff going on. Yes. When you see icons communicate quickly and easily, that's one of the great things about it. When you see this little car and it has a little bump on the roof, you know it's a taxi. You get it right away. You don't even have to speak the language. You can just see the icon and go for it. A few years ago, the YMCA did a widespread study to understand about the YMCA. And they came back and they said, you know what? No one calls it the YMCA. They all call it the Y. So simplify, consolidate. And you can see this Y, it's an icon. It has like a start button for the treadmill or something, an arrow moving forward. I don't know if there's a separate conversation going on. I'm not tracking it, but Brittany's going to sing, I guess. Oh, the YMCA song. Oh. Guys, can you think of an icon-driven logo? One that maybe you use frequently that's a part of your life? Yes, Alyssa, Apple, Amazon, Starbucks. Yeah, these are all icon-driven logos, but Apple is a big one because we're all on Apple computers for the most part. Uh, Anybody know why Apple has an apple? Macintosh apples, yeah. Well, they came up with a Macintosh computer because it was from Apple computer. But I'll tell you what I know about Apple computer. So when Steve Jobs started the company, he did like apples. When Steve Jobs started the company, the main manufacturer of PCs was IBM. And they made a very intimidating machine that ran on MS-DOS. And when you started it up, you got a screen like this with a blinking cursor. You had to slip in the floppy disk and type the exact right code to load the operating system, or it beeped at you until you typed it in correctly. You had to do everything through coding, and it was challenging, and mostly people were not interested in that. It was good for scientists and mathematicians and hobbyists, nerds, so to speak. But for the rank and file person, it was not a useful thing. But Steve Jobs had this vision. He said, personal computing can change the world if it was only more accessible, easy. And when they created the Macintosh computer, when you started it up, it said hello in this script writing. Hello. It didn't beep at you. It had a mouse. You could move around your cursor. You could click on things. You had a word processor, so you didn't have to use a typewriter anymore. It was incredibly user-friendly. Yes, Alyssa, user-friendly. And he was right. It changed the world. So let's talk about an apple. What do you have to do to eat an apple? Nothing, right? You just pick it, you eat it, you bite it. Yes, perhaps wipe it off. That might be a good idea. Yes, but it's accessible. It's easy. They're everywhere. Apples are all over the earth, pretty much, anywhere it gets below freezing. And they're friendly, right? You give the teacher an apple. They're associated with knowledge. You know, usually the story of Adam and Eve, they use an apple, but it just says in the Bible, the fruit of the tree. It doesn't say what kind of fruit. Yeah, they're not in Puerto Rico because or Florida, and they have to be in places where it gets below freezing. So the northern and southern hemispheres, though, they actually originated from Kazakhstan and spread across the earth. But they're friendly, easy, accessible, like the computer company. There's a metaphor. The apple is a metaphor. Even if you think about like Apple Music, easy, except so every time I want to hear a song, I don't have to enter a credit card, right? I just click on it, I get it, and they bill me monthly. I don't have to think about it. Easy, accessible, friendly. You see how that connects? The icon is a symbol for the attributes of the company. He did have a computer named Lisa. And I remember those. They were not around a lot for long. All right. Let's talk about some other logo icons. Any other icons come to mind? Logos, companies that use an icon that means something. Xbox, yeah, it's got the X. It's kind of dynamic looking, got energy to it. Twitter has a little bird singing out, sending a message. Snapchat. Starbucks, yeah, they've actually moved away from the emblem style and now just have the mermaid. Disney uses Mickey ears. Gatorade. Target, yeah, Julia's on Target tonight. Target, why is Target Target? Any thoughts on that? It's self-explanatory. Who's Target's competitor? Biggest competitor? Walmart. What's the difference between going to a Walmart and going to a Target? Clean environment, yeah. Nicer. Price, I think that is, Alyssa. Friendlier. Never been to Target, okay. Some people think it might be a little cheaper at Walmart, but it's a little nicer at Target, right? Target seems more high end. Yeah, so I'll tell you how it came about. Walmart was started by Sam Walton. Sam Walton figured out logistics, how to get things into the store cheaper than anybody else. As a result, he could have lower prices. And everywhere they opened a Walmart, the other stores tried to lower their prices to match his, and they couldn't, and they went out of business. And this went on for a while, and Walmarts were opening up all over the country, and every town they came to, the other department stores quickly went out of business until they got to Minneapolis, where Dayton's department store was. And the head of Dayton said, you know what? We're not going to compete on price. We're going to just make it nicer to go to our store. We're not going to have everything, but we'll have things that you really want. We'll be targeted. We'll be focused. It'll be clean. It'll be sharp. It'll have good branding. And it worked. They survived. Yes. When you see a Target, they all look the same. The red color is everywhere. It's part of the branding, and they're very consistent. And that makes you feel like you could spend money there. And then Jeff Bezos almost put all the brick and mortar stores out of business. Well, that's what's happening now. So, given that there's been a pandemic, in-store shopping has declined significantly, and people are buying things online. And Amazon has had an incredible year. So the future of marketing sort of lies between these three companies, I think. Amazon, Target, and Walmart, they're all competing for the same stuff, and they have different ways of going about it. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out for those who are interested in branding and marketing. All right, let's talk about logos some more. So the best logos are visual metaphors, like we talked about. Why does NBC have that logo? What is that picture of? It's a peacock. Why is it a peacock? What does a peacock mean for NBC? Pride. Yeah, that's one of them. True colors of the world. Yeah, they actually when they started color TV, they had a peacock. Being a little different too. I think it's variety, it's diversity. These colors represent different divisions of the company for entertainment, news, sports, all these kind of things. Yeah, when they had color TV, they used a live peacock. AT&T, what's that a picture of? Yeah, the world, the globe, it's energy, it's information zooming around the globe. How about New Line Cinema? What's that a picture of? It's a film strip, but what are they telling you about the company? About the movies they make? They're going in a new direction, right? They're going different. Yeah, they're different. They make different kinds of films. Yeah, that would be what they're telling you. All right, here's some logos. Now, these logos use different techniques that are kind of interesting that you can think about as you're creating your icon. So first one up, Imaginary Friend Pictures. What's going on in that logo? Yeah, she's pretending to be with somebody else. But is there somebody else? Like somehow the seesaw is going down on this side? Yeah, it seems weighted down. So it's a little bit of a mystery. What I think is so cool about this logo is it makes you look where nothing is. Your eye goes right to the empty space just by instinct. It's kind of fun. It's a bit of paradox, like something kind of impossible is happening. Yeah. Ooh, Julia. By the way, you're welcome to turn on your mics. If pro tip with Zoom, if you hold down the space bar, it temporarily unmutes you, and you can chime in if you want. It's up to you guys. If you're in a noisy spot, you might not want to, but people are shy. Paint the city. What do you see going on there? The city, yeah, there's a cityscape in the negative space. It's a paint can with drips, but then a city as well. So this is two images in one, right? So if you can create an image that's two things in one from one image, like something in the negative space, that's awesome. That'll really help your process. Maritime law. This is the scales of justice, but they're different. They're sailboats. So taking an ordinary object and making it different, extraordinary, that's another cool idea. Barcode. This is like two images in one as well, with the barcode inside the mug. Gym guide. What do you see there? Weights, dumbbells, but it also says GG. Yeah, Cynthia saw it. GG. Embassy landlines. Do you see the old style telephone inside here in the negative space? So these are cool things you can do. Two images in one, creating paradox, negative space, and changing an ordinary object into something extraordinary. All right, I'm going to show you a logo, and I want you to tell me what comes to mind when you see this logo. What comes to mind?
A glass half full.
Yes, glass half full, exactly. They're not saying that, but that pops in your head. When your visual sort of pushes the punchline into someone's brain, that's a really great visual. This is a case of visualizing paradox. So it's something impossible that's happening, and it's being visualized. So that's a lot of fun. All right, we're gonna have to move quicker here. I'm sorry, I'm taking too much time. Louise Feely is a great designer in New York City, and she does some amazing, inspiring work in the world of branding. Her look is very retro. It kind of feels like the 1920s or 1930s, and she specializes in a lot of restaurants. This is a restaurant. Here's another restaurant, Post 390, and it looks like it's from the 1920s or something. Here is Piccoline. This is a line of food products, and great logo. Looks like it's been around for 100 years. And then this one, the Artisanal, which is a bistro wine bar. When you look at this, you can just imagine they get cheese from upstate New York, and it's this outdoor cafe with people sitting on the street drinking wine. It sparks your imagination. This is what you want to do. You want to spark people's imagination so they picture themselves using the product, being amazing, having a great life, whatever it is. This is another restaurant she did in New York called Marseille, and it just feels like the southern coast of France, and you can imagine the seafood and the wine and the music, and it just warms you up. You can see the people in winter coats outside. Spark people's imagination. I'm going to skip the video that I normally show because we're kind of slow on time, but you can go to her website. I'm just going to jump over there quick. louisefeely.com, and take a look for inspiration at her work, particularly the logos, which are numerous. Now, she does a lot of word marks. She's a master typographer and all that. But just the style, and it sort of sparks your imagination. It feels like it's coming from a different era, a different place. There's a quality to the craftsmanship of everything that's kind of off the charts. So just look for inspiration. All right, back to the presentation. With that being said, you also want to keep it simple. So this is the 92nd Street wide logo done by Pentagram. Pentagram shows all their logos in black and white. For this week, we're going to work in black and white. You're going to establish your brand so that you can add color in a methodical way coming up next week. So don't worry about color right now. We're working on our icons. You're going to do a lot of sketches, and I'll show you an example of some sketches. So this is Heather Ironman's work she did for Mount Sapo soap, which was one of our made up products. So we got some wreaths with an MS, a winged horse, some wings, a Greek key, an urn, a column. Oh, it's another winged horse. These two ideas are redundant. Don't do that. You want to have 12 unique ideas, not the same one different ways. The reason for that is you really want to wait to refine the 3 best ideas and figure out the best version of each one. But to start, you're really just doing thumbnail sketches. They don't have to be Leonardo da Vinci. Don't worry about shading and, you know, doing a real detailed drawing. You're just trying to get 12 unique ideas. You can work in Procreate if you like. And as long as you're sort of not getting tied up in the process and just really putting ideas down quickly. I don't want you to start using Illustrator and start doing that until you really get 12 sketches. Now, like I said, you're going to do a lot of sketches to get to the 12 unique ideas. You don't want to edit yourself. You want to like really let it flow. And then, you know, like when I say that Paint the City logo, the way that came about, I'm sure, is somebody drew a paint can and then looked at it and said, you know what, that kind of looks like a city. Uh-oh. So someone drew a paint can and then they said it looks like a city. You guys getting me now? Am I back on? All right. This is in the assignment. And I just remind you guys, because every month people just write out the name of their company and call it a day. That's not what you're doing. Create the icon first for Thursday. Then you will add type. When I say brand and category, like I had Atomic Cookies. Atomic is the brand, cookies is the category. All of them break down in that way. This is a great template to just follow for your logo layout. 12 unique icons, and then you're going to add logo type. Let's look at some other examples of logos for inspiration. This is Charles Anderson Company. They do some amazing work for a lot of big companies, including Nike, Paramount, Warner Brothers. And this is how they display their logos on their website in black and white. This is for Tiger Woods Golf. They did these for Turner Classic Movies, and you can just see them. They went over video, so they had to be real, you know, no grayscale, no tonality, just black and white, and they work over video, and you can tell exactly what they are: the gangster, the King Kong, and Sophisticate, and the Queen. They did this one for a company called Custom Ink. That's a screen printer. What do you see in the icon there? An octopus. Yeah, it's an octopus in the negative space and ink drops in the positive. 2 images in one. Great technique. Now, they ended up calling this Inky the Octopus. Inky has a lot of personality, wouldn't you say? He looks fun. Yes. What Inky doesn't have is teeth, lips, eyebrows, ears, nose. The simplest shapes creating a look. And it even diagrams it out. You could use Illustrator and create one of these yourself pretty quickly, right? A few years ago, St. Petersburg Clearwater, this was their old logo, and they decided they needed a renovation, a new one. So they hired Michael Beirut with some other designers from Pentagram, and they came up with a new icon. This is the new icon. What do you see in this icon? The new one's better. Waves, water, yes. Do you see SPC? St. Pete Beach, yeah. SPC, St. Petersburg Clearwater. It's kind of an Easter egg. You don't really need to see that because the way he set it up, he's got this type around a ring and the icon in the middle and an interesting color palette. And this is kind of cool. Now, the problem with when you put type in a ring around the logo like that is the type has to be a certain size to be read. And this will dictate the size of the logo. It has to be really large to be legible. So he created a second version of the logo with the type outside. And this is more the setup that we want you to use. But since Beirut's sort of a master designer, he created a whole system. So you can see this is really large on the letterhead, but on the business card where it's small, he uses this one. And the icon itself becomes like a placeholder for all the aspects of the destination. You can see how eye-catching it is. The icon is always supposed to flag you down, be interesting, catch your eye. This one for Dixon's Apple Orchard. What do you see there? A bear. Yeah, at first it's just a tree, and then you realize, no, that's a bear. It's not the trunk of the tree. They use one of the leaves for the punctuation, and the type and the icon. You can see this setup like the Full Sail. Wow, my internet's crapping out on me. You can see the proportions of this setup match the Full Sail kind of setup. You'll see it over and over again. Here's another one. This company's called 3B. They did for Skarsgård Construction. You can see this big bold S and this nice bold type. And there's brand name category. This whole setup is just like the one I showed you, the generic. They did this for latitudes, and you can see an icon that is 2 images in one. It's a globe and it's an orange. And this type sort of matches nicely because it's at an angle as well. This is the work of Von Glitzka from Glitzka Studios, Gimme Organic. And this turtle is just a wonderful illustration he did. The craftsmanship is really excellent on this with the line work and how even everything is. You can see this work in black and white as well as color. And this turtle, once again, has a lot of fun personality, but no iris, no eyebrows, no teeth, no lips, no hair, right? You can do a lot with a little. And there it is. Gimme Organic seaweed snacks. His belly does look like a loaf of bread. I think of that every time I see it. Here's another one by Von Glitzka, Tommy Knocker. Now, Von Glitzka is a master at custom lettering, and so that's what he's doing here. But I wanted you to see this icon, this miner. The way he works, he sketches it out, and then he does a pretty tight pencil sketch, scans it in, and then pen tools half of it and flips it. So he's got the whole thing. And then he just bends a couple of things to make it asymmetrical. It's a great way to work. And you can see there it is on the beer. It's maple nut brown ale. Ugh. But cool logo. All right, what do you see in this one? You see the snake and you see the bottle. Yeah. 2 images, the negative space implies a different image. So it's really kind of fun. There it is, the naked grape. What comes to mind when you see that whole package together? Fancy. To me, it makes me think of Adam and Eve. There's the Garden of Eden. The snake is sort of tempting. So, and I think that might be okay for a wine. They want to be a little hedonistic, a little tempting. The naked grape. if a company comes to you and they say they called big ass fans, you got to draw a donkey, right? But not from the side, from the back. You can see this donkey is articulated really well. He did a great drawing of this. The shape of the shield, he sort of busts out of it a little bit, but just step back and look at the proportions here. Again, we're looking at that Full Sail logo all over again, and there's a brand name and category. And of course, what do they make? They make really big fans. All right, so as we come down the home stretch here, just to review, you're getting your creative brief. You're going to the assignment, getting the creative brief, getting your template, doing your sketches. When you scroll down here, this is the instructions for defining your target audience. Do the best you can on this. You will not be graded harshly on this part of it, but do the best you can to complete it. Then you're going to create your logo icon as instructed here. This video is on brainstorming, so you can dive in and do your research and get started. And then if you hit the wall and you're stuck, watch this video to help you break through the log jam. Then you're going to take your sketches and bring them into Illustrator and create what we're calling a logo process, and then create the logo test options, and that's what's going to be due Sunday. Now, just to jump over to InDesign for a minute, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So get your creative brief, put it in here. You can start on the word list. You don't have to do that for this week. That's ultimately going to be a week 4 thing. Your whole presentation will be spiffed up by then. Work on your target audience. Do some research, find some inspiration, gather some images. These boxes are placed on the page just as sort of a placeholder, but you don't have to use these. You can delete them all and just place the images however you want. It's just to get you started. Find the competitor logos. When you look at those logos, that'll give you an idea of what you're up against. And then explore some fonts. What kind of fancy display fonts might you use for your logo type? Try them out, put them in here. Display fonts, pick a couple of fonts that will be legible for directions and things like that, ingredients. And then we get to here, this is where the rubber meets the road. You're gonna do your icon sketches. Now there are 12 picture frames here with gray fills on them so that you can see them. I'm going to show you quickly how to put your sketches in. So if I click into one of these frames and I go to File, Place, which is Command D, File, Place, and I go to some sketches that I've scanned in and place them. Now you can see, let's zoom in, oops, zoom in, not out. You can see it's placed in there. It's kind of filling up as much as it can, but there's these gray bars on the outside. That's because of the gray fill of this box. If I click on this box and I've got the blue outline, so I know I've clicked on this box, and take this fill color and turn it to none. Now I have a nice white box with my icon in there. Now, if you take a photo of your sketchbook with your phone or something like that, you want to bring those images into Photoshop and make them high contrast so they have a nice white background and look nice. You want to present these well. You don't want to just have messy junk in here. Let's try another one. So Command D, I'll go to the next one, open it up. All right, so that's okay. But you know what? The cropping's not great on this because I've got this kind of junk around the edges that I don't really want. So if I click on the little double circle in the middle, now the picture frame turns into this orange box. I'm going to hold down Shift and Option. Shift is important because it makes it proportional. Option drags it out from the center. I'm just going to drag it out so that it fills a little more of the frame. So I get rid of some of the edges. And now it's a lot clearer. I can see it a little better. You know, if I really wanted to be fancy, I could just print this in a little. Let's do another one. You guys following me? Number 3. All right, this one is not quite filling. You can control click on an image, go to fitting and say fill frame proportionally. And it filled it up. Now it cropped it out a little bit. So maybe I want to bring it in a little bit and move it up a little. But what I want to see, and let's see, I get rid of that gray background. What I want to see when I look at this page is your 12 unique ideas neatly placed in here without a lot of extra stuff and clear and not low contrast, right? If you look at the example I gave you of Paula's, actually, here's Maria's. This is Maria's she did for Zinnia Tea. See, these have sort of they could be brought into Photoshop and change the contrast so that this is whiter, a whiter background. Once you get that done, you're going to export from InDesign PDF presets. You could do a smallest file size from the presets if you want. Yeah, you can get the scan app. There's different ways to do it. But when you do this, this is page 9. This is for the discussion. I would go, we'll save it with your name. And then when it comes to this dialog box for the Adobe Export PDF, do pages 1 through 9. Export that and submit that to the discussion for Thursday. If you get this message, what this is telling you is that the PDF is set up for RGB space and the document is set up for CMYK. We're not concerned about that right now because we're not dealing with color at all. So just say okay. But if it has missing files, you want to be concerned about that. And there you go. There's your first 9 pages through the sketches. So does everybody feel confident and clear about what they need to do for this week? By the way, there is an extended lab. This is about an hour's long. If you get lost and you're having trouble, you can watch this video. It has a lot of cool information about how to do everything in the template, how to get started. So look at this video. Troubleshooting InDesign, that's for like little minor problems, but there's a lot of resources here to help you. Also, of course, Slack. All right, that's just about the hour. Does anybody have any questions before I wrap it up? All right. Asia, hang on the call after, and I'll after everyone drops off, we'll talk. All right. All right.